Hello everybody and welcome back. This is episode number 12 of the Amber Army YouTube channel's Football Manager 2018 experiment. Together stronger, boosted, revamped Welsh League. And if we haven't already seen, I'm going to point out to you, Cardiff are back. And they're back in the hunt for the title. But is it too much to ask to catch Merthyr up right now? As you can see, Wrexham have gone on to lose, who were unbeaten the last time we saw, have gone on to lose 4 games. And they've fallen away from it. And personally, I'd say from 5th up, that is the title race. Connah's Quay probably haven't got what it takes to stay in amongst that title chasing pack. Merthyr are looking more and more likely that they're going to be the ones to take the title away again, to win it back to back. Connah's Quay are obviously safe from relegation, as are Llandudno Junction. I'd say Carmarthen is safe from relegation too, but anyone from Guilsfield down could be facing the drop. And Bala, Barry and TNS all having a very poor season, as are Penybont. Colwyn Bay have got to be the biggest disappointment so far. I was thinking they were going to be up around the top. I mean, if we have a look at the season preview, Colwyn Bay were 7th favourites for the title and they found themselves bottom. Barry were 6th favourites and they're down the bottom end. Bala were 8th favourites and they found themselves down the bottom end. So Penybont living up to their title. I mean, let's have a look who's actually doing particularly well, who should have been at the bottom. Connah's Quay, I think, are the ones who are doing the best because they were 10th favourites and they're up in amongst the chasing pack. Swansea have got to be the best, actually, come to think of 450 to 1 for the title, and they are in the title chase. If anybody had their money on Swansea, they could be coming in with a nice little. Well, I'd have gone on each way bet. You still would have had really good odds on Swansea to win the title this year. Matthew Ryan, as I said, the star player in the division was obviously the Merthyr goalkeeper. Matthew Ryan is now the star player in the division, which makes me think, because Merthyr's 2 better players, key players, are Lloyd Davis and Ashley Morris. Do they still have that goalkeeper? Oh, they still got him. Thiago Volpe, he's still there. I think looking at it, you got your key players there. They got 2 for each team, I believe they always put in there. Yeah, 2 for each team. The 2 best players in each team are showcased in this little list here. But then obviously that is the ideal 11. So Davis, is he a Merthyr player? Yeah, Lloyd Davis. Prosser still with Newport County. So Newport County kept some of their better players. And this Prosser, how is he getting on there anyway? He's at 8 caps for Wales as well. And he's at 147 to a 171. Top player. If Newport County sell him, they're going to make a lot of money. So, talking about selling players, or buying players even, let's have a little look at, where's it gone? There we are. So Newport County sold Zach McBurney to Liverpool for 37.5 million. I wonder if they actually spent any of that money. It doesn't look like they have. Big transfers. So Cardiff to Merthyr. That is a shocking one. Cardiff to sell a good player to Merthyr. I don't know what they're thinking there, to be honest with you. But they've obviously picked up Geraint Llewellyn from Connah's Quay. Maybe Connah's Quay's fall is these 2 players moving on, possibly. But no, Connah's Quay sold them in the summer, so that's nothing to do with their fall. We've got to look at the dates there. So Wrexham have picked up a player. Even though they've fallen off, they've still brought some players in during the January transfer window. John Rowlands to Wrexham. So Wrexham are trying to keep in with the chasing pack. Llandudno are obviously spending a little bit to try and stay up. Will they? I wouldn't have thought so. So the transfer window resulted in this. The biggest ins were Wrexham and Cardiff. Wrexham looking to rubber stamp their position at the top end. Cardiff in desperate need of pushing themselves forward. Penybont having a disappointing season, looking to turn that around with a couple of signings. Merthyr looking to hold their place at top of the league. And bringing a couple in. Llandudno needing to push forward, as are Denby Ruthin and Llanelli, I believe, are doing okay, aren't they? So Ruthin are not doing okay, sorry. Llanelli are doing okay. Penrith have actually risen a little bit. Guildford are having a good season. Carmarthen have fallen away from the top end, quite disappointingly. Llandudno Junction having a good year, but looking likely that those bottom three will remain the bottom three unless Colwyn Bay, they should do something about that. That is a really poor fall from grace for them because they were at the top end. So I think the big pressing question I've got now is, did Cardiff? It looks like they didn't. No. Cardiff drew that game, so they went out of Europe. That's a kick in the teeth for Welsh football, massively. So it's on Merthyr now to fly the flag for Wales in Europe, and that climb slowing down, especially for the fact they've got the might of Barcelona. So there is the very, very high likelihood that Merthyr will be falling out of the first knockout round and Welsh football have another disappointing European season. But because it's been that much better than previously in Welsh football, they still are climbing. But I think Welsh football does need a few big players, and looking at this, they're falling at the moment. They can't go below the Swiss, the Belgian and the Greek leagues. It's bad enough that they're behind Scotland now, but the Welsh Premier League is not measuring up to the English Premier League as per the intentions at the beginning of it all. So let's have a quick butchers at all this. This is what the top end of each of the divisions are looking like, and Queen's Park of Wrexham are pushing themselves to create a Wrexham derby up in the top end. Avon Lido are trying to get back up. Lido, I don't care. Holyhead, Llandudno Albion looking to push with two other Llandudno teams, but will another Llandudno team fall? The main one, will they fall back into the Cymru Alliance? Kevin Drewers and Kaya Sus, obviously Kaya Sus, they're doing better now. They are back up in with a shout again, back into the Premier League after their disappointing fall. Bangor and Prestatyn are the two teams that are desperate to get back up into that Cymru Alliance, and they're the two teams that are leading the way in it now. Prestatyn have got their act together. Right, one thing I've just thought of, manager movements. What have there been? Colwyn Bay have done particularly bad. So Rio Ferdinand took over at Colwyn Bay and got himself the sack, and Andy Hill is now the manager at Colwyn Bay. So the former Barry manager, maybe he's the one that won them the Welsh Cup, possibly. But possibly a good move there. Gareth Parry resigned as manager of Llandudno, done the honourable thing, and Chris Coleman is now the Llandudno manager. It's an interesting one because they got him from Bala. So that's where Bala was doing so well, because they had Chris Coleman in charge. They picked him up from Connors Key a while ago, obviously no longer the Sunderland manager, of course. So TNS had Rio Ferdinand, and he left to go to Colwyn Bay and got himself the sack. So now Eddie Maurice Jones is now the manager. The Monmouth manager, who's doing well down in the Cymru Alliance, has picked up the job at TNS. And Barry sacked their manager Andy Hill, who's now the Colwyn Bay manager. So Barry sacked Andy Hill. So is that really a good move from Colwyn Bay? Danny Cowley, who's in real life the Lincoln manager, has obviously done particularly well since being picked up by Carmarthen, where he's jumped back into English football with Wolves and then back, and possibly could be the reason why Kaya Sus have turned themselves around. So Barry have picked up on him. So there's the manager movements. So the Merthyr Town manager that's doing so well at the moment is, of course, Chris Morrill, who started off as just the head of youth development at Prestatyn and decided to take up a job with St. Asaph, whatever, a Llandudno coach, picked off by Llandudno Junction, and maybe he's the reason behind the success at Llandudno Junction. And now he's obviously a title winner with Merthyr and could be for 2 years in a row. And obviously the first of this series of Welsh teams to be in the Champions League. So this is all shaping up quite nicely for this season. I'm really enjoying this season now. I think there's only one thing really left to do other than obviously have a quick look at the player stats. So let's go from the top scorer. So Gary Doyle's still top of there. Ethan White, I don't believe we've seen him before. I may be talking bollocks. He's a good one. He is a good one. Ethan White. So there's our top 10 goal scorers. Here's our top 10 assists. Matty Palmer still doing well for Denby. Reece Wood bursting onto that little table there. Wow, there's a player. A 150. No wonder Cardiff are doing so well when you got a player like that setting up goals. So there we go. John Norman is a new one. Penny Bond. I know they're looking a lot better now, and yeah, he's decent. So there we go. Scott McTominay. Obviously, I remember him for Guilsfield. He's obviously Man United player in real life. So hold on a minute. Let's go back a minute. The average rating. So Nicholas Eliasson is still the top player. Lloyd Davis, of course. Jamie Bowley, whatever. Decent. Will get better. Who's Sergio Pad? It's a Dutch goalkeeper playing for Connors Key. Uninspiring. So there we go. So, disappointment for the national team, of course, but with all the great players coming through and getting better and better all the time, there's one particular Welsh player I want to have a look at, and I think you know who I'm looking for right now if you've been watching this series for any amount of time. Roger Parsonage, we tipped him to be one of the best players in the game at some point. He is not lived up to the potential that he had. He's only a 1-2-2. At 23, he's not going to climb that much. He could have been one of the greats. Possibly should have moved on in Landudno's early failings. But he's stuck with the club, fair play to him. But he could have amounted to be so much better. So, I say we see this season out now. Let's get through to the playoff final of the Cymru Alliance, and then we'll see who will be crowned champions. My money is on Merthyr, because the 6-point gap, even though Cardiff are coming in strong, Wrexham looking better, Newport County looking good, Swansea doing much better. I don't see anyone other than Merthyr winning this title, so we'll see. We never know. I thought Cardiff were going to win again last year, but Merthyr took it. As an outside bet, I would say Wrexham could be the outside team that could pinch it right at the end. But we'll see though. Let's see it out. I'll see you at that playoff final. Okay then everybody, it's the 23rd of May and there you go. Champions again are Merthyr. Cardiff with 10 points behind them, so Merthyr have run away with it now. Connors Key had a fantastic season. Newport County will be a bit disappointed that they couldn't capitalise on a weak season around them. Swansea have returned to the top end. Carmarthen finished strong in the end, so as did Barry. Wrexham fell away from it massively. They'll be very disappointed. Guilsfield had a good finish, so did Llanelli. TNS are still down that end. They're not getting relegated at the moment, which is good, but they want to be up around there, really, don't they? Colwyn Bay saved themselves from relegation. Landudno Junction fell a few places, so they'll be a bit disappointed with that. Bala finished poorly, but didn't go down. Pennybont saved themselves from relegation as well. Ruthin went down, as did Denby and Landudno. They couldn't save themselves either. So there we go. That makes up the Welsh Premier League. How did Merthyr get on in the Euro Cup against Barcelona? I think we all know exactly how it would have went. And, well, they didn't disgrace themselves. It was 3-0 on aggregate. So lost 2-0 at home and only lost 1-0 away. So that's not so bad, really, is it? But it's still a disappointing European season for the Welsh teams. But next season there'll be more places for them. So that will be good. So Merthyr and Cardiff would have got into the Champions League. Merthyr go straight into the Champions playoffs. So I think they should get themselves into the Champions League again. Cardiff City will be in the best placed third qualifying or second, I can't remember exactly, but it'll be tough for them because they'll be having some good teams in amongst the best placed. Connors Key will have qualified for Europe along with a cup winner, and possibly fourth place Newport would have qualified as well. Player stats. So top scorer in the end, joint between Ethan, so Gary Hope fell away, Gary Doyle fell away. Ethan White ended up having a great season for Llandudno Junction. He's improving as well, fair play to him. So Callum Williams is the top scorer of the whole JD Welsh Premier League. Carmarthen, as they rose through the league to finish strong in the end. Rhys Wood of Cardiff was the top assists. And there we go, he's maximised his potential already at the age of 23. Cracking player he is. Matty Palmer, Jamie Bowley ended up doing well. Still got room for improvement as well. So some really good players in this division. I remember Emerson Hyndman. He was one of the top potential rated players in the world on I think it's only like 3 years ago on this game. So that's crazy. Average rating, so Nicholas Eliasson, the best player in the division this year. Swedish winger. Not even a great player, I don't get it, he's so good. Lloyd Davis is the superstar striker of Merthyr. Cracking player he is as well. So the better players in this division are starting to creep into the 150s. So it just goes to show that the league is improving, the quality of players are improving, but those 150s, I can see them getting moved on for massive amounts of money next season. So it's the playoff final time now. So I'll take you to, well, wait there, hold on a second. Let's have a quick look at who we're looking at here. So in the Cymru Alliance, Queen's Park didn't win the league. They're playing Caersus in that playoff final at Caersus. Well, that's going to be a tough one, that one is, so we're attending that. We'll see how the league, actually no, sorry, let's have a look how the Cymru Alliance finished in the end. So Kevin Druids and Llandudno Albion. So Llandudno Albion go up, but Llandudno came down. So the three Llandudno teams in the Premier League. For the town of Llandudno, they'll be a bit disappointed because they wanted all three in that top league with them. Avonlido fell away. They were looking good, as were Queen's Park. But look at that. Look how close that is. 52, 51, 51, 50. Any one of four teams could have won that league on that last day. That's just madness. That's crazy. And then looking down, this is where, it wasn't quite so close, but look at that. How many teams could have got relegated? How many teams could have finished in the playoff? Well, not as close as previous seasons, but still very, very close, especially at that top there. So, who's going to join them two in the Premier League next season? We'll soon find out. Okay then, so here we are. The final is about to kick off the second leg. Both teams are drawing at the moment 1-1. If we're going to have a hazard a guess at who's going to win this, I got a feeling it's going to be Queen's Park of Wrexham. Even though Caersus have turned things around really well, Queen's Park was a strong team in the division and would have only missed out, and almost went 1-0 down, and would have only really missed out because of one little bit of poor form towards the end. Although there's one player who's really, really down in the dumps, that Hennigan. I got a feeling he may be a weak link for them. And Caersus take the lead. With the early exchanges, I'm starting to think that I might have been talking out my arse about Queen's Park, but logically thinking about it, they had a good season, but it looks like a couple of their players are a little bit worse away on the back of it, so maybe my prediction is going to be wrong. If not for Greenaff, I think it probably would have already been out of sight. Caersus are playing this game extremely well at the moment. It looks like the Wrexham derby dream is very, very unlikely right now. Well, there's still time in this game. They got players on the bench who look quite fresh, who may be able to come on and make a difference. Then it would be nice to see Caersus have another crack at it in the Premier League. Be coming up strong. Queen's Park aren't finished, I believe. Unless they're going to get caught out on the break, which is looking likely. End-to-end stuff, this. Cracking ball, and Jones is in. Oh, he just missed out on that. But they've still got the ball. So Great Boys in a lot of space. Oh, why did he miss that? That was the chance for Queen's Park. But are they going to make any more? Should have done better there. He had time. He could have taken a touch then. But Kaisus are still the dominant team in this. So although Queen's Park aren't out of it yet, they have made some extremely good chances. And that's got to be it now, isn't it? I can't see any way back now for Queen's Park. I think they do deserve another crack at it, Kaisus, at the Premier League. They disappointed so many when they went up. We expected them to turn into one of the big hitters, given the money they'd made from players and the quality of the players they had left over. Oh, that could have been it. All over and done with. But they've been much the better team in this game and fully deserved the win. So that's got to be curtains now for Queen's Park. Oh, is there a twist in the tail to be had? Oh, it's probably just Kaisus are going to look to extend their lead. Greenaff, he's had a decent game in goal, Greenaff. He'd be disappointed to have conceded 2 goals. His defence have obviously let him down. Queen's Park do look the more tired. And, oh, is it a penalty? Yeah. Looked a penalty as well. And this is it. Kaisus back in the Premier League. Rubber stamped. And I believe, is that a hat-trick for him? That is a hat-trick for Baker. What an individual performance to take his team up to the top division in Wales. I don't think Kaisus have finished just yet, but Queen's Park still not giving up. It's a good fighting spirit from them, but that is absolutely awful from Jones. There's a difference between the two front men. You've got Jones and you've got Baker. That's been the difference today, mainly. Although Kaisus have absolutely dominated the game. Baker missed a sitter at 1-0. Not Baker, sorry, Jones. Jones for Queen's Park missed a sitter at 1-0. Could have made it 1-1. Could have been a completely different game then. The fine margins of football, eh? There it is. In front of their own fans, Kaisus are the winners of the Cymru Alliance playoffs and will be in the Premier League next season. They did it in style as well, fair play to them. So there we go. That makes up the teams that will be in the top division next season. We'll round everything up and look at all the cup winners as well in the next few minutes. So then guys, as we know, with the JD Welsh Premier League, Merthyr Town were the champions, Ruthin, Denbigh and Llandudno went down. Cymru Alliance, Kevin Druids, Llandudno Albion and Kaisus get promoted. Airbus, Tom Penter and Porthmadog. Another disappointing season from Porthmadog. They are the teams to go down. Airbus looked like an early front runner for promotion and ended up getting relegated. Goes to show how close this league is. Monmouth disappointing in the end after they had a good looking run at the top end. Welsh Football League Division 1, Prestatyn and Gresford and Goetre Gwent go up. Bangor City looking very much like that they were going to be champions, fallen away and didn't even get promoted at all. They'll be very disappointed with that. Haverfordwest will be disappointed to be so low down. Newtown fell away from the playoffs as well. Goetre United, so the two Goetres, although they're not in the same place. Goetre United, Aberdare went down after getting promoted last season, and Cumbrian and Clydach are the teams that get relegated from this division. Welsh Alliance League Division 1, St Asaph, Tria Bay, I think that's how you're going to pronounce that, and Llanberis are the teams that get promoted. Lambert Major, Brickfield and Llandrinog are the teams who go down. Llandrinog had a really bad season there. Okay, so Cairo, Blaenau, Festiniog and Cumbrian Celtic. Cumbrian Celtic are firing up the leagues a little bit. They're the three teams that get promoted in this division. Crossy Celliog, Porth and Garden Village are the teams who go down. Okay, so Llay, Trefellyn, BGC and Pontardawe are the teams who get promoted in the Welsh Alliance League Division 2. Cardiff Met Uni have stopped the rot and had a decent season, nearly made the playoffs even. Mold Alex, Llanefydd and Aberfraw are the teams who go down from this division. Welsh Football League Division 3, Chepstow, Amlwch and Treharris are the teams who get promoted. Boderdern and Penicae are the teams who go down. Welsh National League Premier, so them and Kaimies Bay are the teams who get promoted. So we finished 5th and went up. I think Tree Thomas would be a bit disappointed with that, to be honest with you. But Swansea Uni are no longer the whipping boys in the league. Howard and trying to be Welshy with it as well is difficult. 17 points, very disappointing season. They are the new whipping boys, but Swansea Uni, still a poor season from them. They're going to need to do a lot to turn that around. So something I don't think we looked at the beginning, the Welsh Football League Challenge Cup was won by Merthyr, beating Barry in the final. Okay, so Carmarthen are the new winners of the JD Welsh Cup, beating Wrexham in extra time. It's an interesting final, that. Who actually made the semi-final. So Newport County and Llandudno Junction were the semi-finalist losers there. But the JD Welsh Cup, once first in 2017, is now 13th. Just for the sheer poorness of the division now. It's just fallen from grace, all of it have. Needs the turnaround. So Merthyr, exerting some dominance in Welsh football now, are the winners of the Nathaniel MG Cup. And then to wrap it all up, Llanrug are the winners of the FAW Trophy, winning on penalties against Caldicott in the final. Okay, so a couple of final things before we call time on this episode and this season. Manager movements. This is the most interesting time to look at manager movements, is at the end of the season. So Llandudno obviously sacked their manager. I think, actually, come to think of it, this was from the 9th of December, so we got to look further down this way. Actually, let's do it date order. So these are the managerial movements. Rio Ferdinand came in as Penybont manager in the end. Rio Ferdinand is a bit of a Welsh football journeyman. Look at that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His 6th job in Welsh football. Rio Ferdinand. Okay, and Cardiff manager Stephen Robinson got the sack, as pretty much any manager that doesn't win the title gets for Cardiff. It's like Cardiff are the Real Madrid of the Welsh League. Barry Quinn is now the manager. Who was Barry Quinn manager? So Barry Quinn was taken from Carmarthen. It's interesting. I think Carmarthen obviously still to bring in a manager, yeah. So obviously, in case I got to have a profile, I got to apply for this job. Wouldn't get it, of course, but Carmarthen will be looking for a new manager. So there we go. That, guys, wraps up another season. As soon as we see the national team. So the Euro Championship qualifiers started off poorly with an away loss to Serbia, a 3-0 home win against Gibraltar. Now, this qualifying camp. I mean, they got Latvia, they got Georgia, they got Iceland, Serbia. Looking at that, you'd think they would romp that group. I wouldn't be so certain. Georgia are not a bad team. Iceland are obviously good, and Serbia absolutely no pushovers at all. But qualifying or not qualifying could be down to the results against the smaller clubs. So a 3-0 win against Gibraltar is good. They need to get that or more when they play them away, and get some good wins against Latvia, of course. But the national team must hope that they can qualify for another major tournament. That would be great. Anyway, that calls time on that episode, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. Some very interesting results. A new power twist in the JD Welsh Premier League, with Merthyr being the dominant force now. But is it all open for next season? Well, you've got to tune in next time to find out. Thank you very much, everybody, and until next time, cheerio for now.